morning, everybody. Okay, this is very much an interactive discussion forum, and we've got a panel of experts up here. But if we'd really like this to be, as I say, very interactive. Could I ask you to move as close to the tables up here so we can have a really good discussion, please? Thank you very much. Okay, good morning again, everybody. Thanks for attending this session. As I say, I hope this session will be a good interaction between questions from the floor. You've got a great opportunity here with this panel. There's a lot of expertise and knowledge there, and I hope you ask some really searching questions to stretch their knowledge and their experience. But if I could introduce the panel then, if I start with Håkan Battle. Håkan Battle is the current manager of Stadtrat Lemko. He's also got a really a lot of experience in host sport management. He's a project manager for Bergen in 2014, did a fantastic job, and also involved in Stavanger in 2011. Okay, next one, Jamie Trost. Jamie has been a past captain of Pride of Baltimore 2, is now the program manager for the new schooner Porcupine, which is about to be launched, I understand. And he's also got some experience in running appraiser sales and advising in host ports as well. So quite a breadth of knowledge there. Okay, carrying on that table. Marcus Ornus, he's the captain of a smaller vessel, Senti, from Estonia. How many races have you done, more or less, Marcus? 22, okay. Heaps of experience, and really, it's a small vessel, probably one of the smallest in the fleet. So he's here to really give you a good perspective on making sure you look after the smaller vessels, which in many ways need looking after more than the big ones. Okay, moving to the next table, Leslie Strickland. Leslie first met, she was heavily involved in Hartlepool for the cruising company in 2005 and did such a great job that she was the basically the project manager in 2010. And heaps of experience and done a lot of sailing as well, again on a small boat, Black Diamond, but other vessels as well. Okay. And I think Klaus needs no introduction, but Klaus Gastra is the long-term captain of Europa, and he's very much going to be inputting from the Class A ships and their points of view. Okay, have I missed anyone? Patty. No, sorry, Bjorg. Bjorg Western. Last but certainly not least, my friend and amazing project manager Frederick starred in 14 and also in 2005. And I must say, Frederick Starr really does know how to look after the crews and the boats. Okay, anybody else I've missed? Okay, I owe you a beer, Bjorg. Okay. So I thought what we'd do, to put it in context, particularly Håkan has been kind enough to do a 10-minute presentation, more or less, and he'll put things in context from both a port side and a ship side. So you're on next, please.
Where's the clicker, Paul? Green to go. And do you have my presentation up there, Lisa? Here we go. Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Paul. My name is Håkan Vatle, and as you said, I've been doing, I did Tolships race in Bergen in 2014. I also did Bergen in 2008, and before I started doing festivals, I sailed in a 9-year period on board the Stadtrat Lemko. So I've also been from the cruise side, and then I started organizing festivals. I've been doing festivals for the last 12 years, both tall ships and music festivals. And now in January, I started as general manager for the Stadtrat Lemko. So now I'm back on the ship side again. And I thought when I was asked to do this, what did I remember from my time as a crew? what was important then when we came to the ports. It was a cold beer. So I went on board. Staatsoord Lemkul, and what is the important thing? I asked the crew when I came on. What is the important thing? What should I say to the STI panel? Cold beer. So nothing has changed in 20 years. No, it's more than that. What I will do now, I'll just have a short presentation of what to think of, and maybe also have some suggestions of what to do and what to improve for the future, for future host ports. And I think the main thing is to be a good, successful host port for the ships and the crew is depending on the communication between the STI and the ships and the ports, which is really important for a successful event. And as I said here on this picture here, always remember that the ships are the headliners of the festival. You don't need to book and use £1 million on a tremendous artist, because it is the ships which attract the crowds, and they are the headliners, and treat them as the headliners. As I say, from the music, they are the artists, and they have a hospitality right, and you have to try and do it as best as possible. As in Bergen, what we said we tried to do in 2014 is our main goal is to be the best host for the ships, and be able to say that hopefully the ships, when they leave Bergen, is when can we come back next time. If we manage to get that goal, then we've been a good host port, and hopefully we did that with some of the ships, which is but it also is a thing with being a project manager for an event like it, which is so big with so many ships, tall ships and small ships. You must also be aware that you cannot satisfy everyone. It is difficult, you must do your best, but always be aware it is someone you can't satisfy, but do your best. For how many host ports are here in around here? Up with your hands. So it's mainly host ports, and how many ships are here? So it's mainly host ports, and many new host ports here. New host ports here. What is nice, when I started, the STI manual is quite good, because you have quite much there. It's being a decent host port, you can see the manual, STI manual, which is good, but then you have to add the extra for your port to make it memorable. One of the succeeds, which was a good success in 2014, which I would recommend for all host ports, was the good communication that the 4 ports had, with Harlingen, with Fredrikstad, and with us, and with Esbjerg. We communicated really well together, and I think that is also an important thing I would recommend future host ports. When you stand out here in the stand together as one fleet. What I reacted now I'm here as representing a ship. I think it's strange that not all the ports stand together as one unit, and it's easier for us to decide if we want to go there. So you can talk to all the ports at the same time, and if one port is missing out here, how welcome do we feel us? Maybe the first thing to do is be here at the STI conference, so that we know that we are welcome. Just you can't promise us trainees, you can't promise corporate hospitality right now, but be here and say that you want to see us. I think the discussion of how being a good host port will come here afterwards. But my suggestion is, what I've been doing 3 events. My suggestion is here for the conference, to make it better, is why not having the future host ports, the 2 years ahead future host port, be able to come as observers for the Class A of the ship's councils meeting. Best to be there, not able to say anything, or maybe be able to present themselves, so we have a face, so we know each other. And what I also would suggest to make future host ports better, because everything is about communication. From the music industry, I go to many of these festivals, and then we have these speed meetings. And the speed meetings would be quite, if all the vessels here who are interested in coming to port, if we sat here at a 2-hour session, then the ports could have a 10-minute speed meeting and go around on the round table. So everybody has a face, and then afterwards you can do more meetings. But it would be easier to work. You just ring the bell, and 10 minutes to shift plate, to go to the next ship, go to the next ship, go to the next ship. It's much easier to communicate when you have a face to communicate with. I think we'll just get the panel up and get the thing going. Yeah.
Okay.
Klaus, you're good at talking and you've been to many events. So if you talk from the ship side.
Yeah, what you said, the communication is major, and being a face, and being a trustworthy ship. So if you can promise a port 2 years ahead that you try to do your best to be there, but we need to have guarantees from both sides, of course. So if you're longer in the system, like we are with Europa, then ports know what to expect, and that makes it easier. For new ships, it's a bit more difficult, I suppose, but you have to work on that. So be trustworthy, try to sign in as soon as possible, but it has to be coming from two sides. You know, we need a contract. We need the ships are really expensive to maintain. So we need some guarantees also from your side, and I think that's the major thing. But we would like to have questions from your side, of course, that we can answer them and get you en route.
Okay, thanks, Klaus, for that. We do have some preset questions just to get the ball rolling in a minute.
Yep.
But maybe we could actually ask everybody just to give a couple of minutes. We're on a roll. Jamie, could we ask you just to a minute or two?
Sure.
Yeah, if you'd like to go up that, that'd be great.
So my experience has been both on the ship side. I've actually worked with Tall Ships America as the marine logistics coordinator for an event in Savannah, Georgia. And during my time at Pride, I was responsible for negotiating the contracts for Pride's appearances. So I've seen it from all different angles. And one of the key elements that's been brought up so far is communication. That communication happens in a tremendous number of areas. In Savannah, the communication between the local law enforcement authorities, the Coast Guard, the pilots, and all the stakeholders involved. For that event, even in a town like Savannah, which, if you're familiar, runs about 26 major festivals a year, they'd never coordinated all of those agencies before. And the Tall Ships event was the first time they sat down. It took many, many meetings, but it ended up being a very smooth event from everybody's standpoint, because we'd done the legwork to make sure that the marine safety inspectors from the Coast Guard were satisfied, the police were satisfied with the security of the ships at the dock. And the pilots knew that the Savannah is a very narrow river, very far up a river, and we're going to have to close it on 2 occasions for the arrival and the departure of the ships. So that's very essential early on. Also, communication between the ships that want to come. Klaus just said it's very expensive to maintain a ship. These festivals represent a small portion of the time the ships are operating, and we want to maximize what the ship can do. Also understanding that your ports are operating on a budget. Both the ship and the port always want the event to happen. So if you approach the negotiations that way, you can come up with some solution of maximizing the time that the ship is in port to utilize that time to make the revenue that the ship needs to make, so that they sail away happy and you've gotten everything that your port and your sponsors want to get out of the ship at the festival. And of course, throughout this, the expectations of what the limits of the ship's crew are need to be clear from the ship side and understood from the port side, that there's only so many people and so many man hours that can be attributed to one festival stop.
Jamie, thank you very much. Björk, could we invite you to say a few words?
I would also like to have the focus on communications. I think early dialogue between the ship and the port is important to map the ship's requirements and what the town and port can offer. The contact person from the ship has to be responsible and have the mandate to make decisions and commit the ship. It's important that the contact is continuous. After the event, it's my suggestion that the port is represented under the captain's workshop, because we see that when it's some problems during the events, it's the project manager that should be there and try to learn and at least try to explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Björk. Very good suggestion. Okay, Leslie, would you like to be up next, please?
I'm little. As you can tell, I'm quite small, so I have to move my microphone down. Good morning, everybody. I'm Leslie Strickland. I was the project manager in Hartlepool. I also worked in Royal Greenwich a couple of years ago, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm now actually working in Blyth in the northeast, Northumberland. I've learnt quite a lot of lessons over the period of 12 years, and the importance of communication. And I think it's already been mentioned, the communication between Sailtree International, the host port, and the ships is very, very important. There are many things and many aspects of how to plan a successful event, but it all starts down to that communication, that brilliant project team behind the scenes. It's really important to have the right people in place, passionate people, passionate about the event, and also passionate people about want to make it happen, and very proactive. Promotion of the event is very important as well. You have to really make sure that you promote it as early as possible. Once you've signed that contract, it's really important to get that that message out, not just to the visitors but to the crews. Let the crews know, especially coming to conferences like this. It's really important that they, the vessel operators get to know you. And I know for a fact from previous experiences, it's really important to get to know the vessels and they get to know you. I know that, as I say, a lot of networking, communicating on a night time over a glass of beer is very well received. I suppose one of the biggest things for me is learning lessons, sharing lessons, and having been to, I can't even think how many host ports and conferences I've been to over the years. It is really important that you get out there and speak to those project managers in those host ports, because nobody's perfect, and you have to learn from everybody else. And the way to do that is to go to at least one host port a year. Definitely come to the conferences and just keep that sort of dialogue going. There's quite a lot, but I won't go into it because I think some of the questions might come out. But most important is obviously this is one big family, and I'm really proud to be part of it. So let's continue. And just to plug it again, Blyth 2016 August, and Gothenburg. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. Yes, it will charge you for that little commercial later. Yeah. Okay, Marcus. Last but not least.
Hello. I participated in many tall ship races, and in different places things were organized differently. But always when I enter into harbor, I'm not thinking only what I get from harbor, but also what we can give to harbor. And actually, if you look to the small boats, yes, I understand we are not so commercially representative for your understanding, but in many cases, persons who were sailing with me 20 years, 25 years ago, now are captains who are coming with their boats to the same harbors. As our trainees are a little different, so a lot of people from my crews visiting these towns as a businessman, as people who involved in any other project, because in small ships we have more active youngsters, really. And we try, when we arrive to harbor, to make it more live. We hoist the flags, we organize the communication between each other, the small parties and so on. So please understand that we also need to participate in some cultural events, and if you give 100 tickets to one tall ship and 1 ticket to the excursion to one small ship, so sometimes from the tall ship can go to the excursion 20 person, but all my crew can go and are interested to go. So we sometimes feel that we are not wanted. So please think about it. And we can give you in return a lot of things. Just maybe you must talk with us more, because our crews can do a lot of things. And of course, where people cannot visit our small boats, we just have no room for that. But if you place us to a nice, safe place, it's very attractive and nice. And in Szczecin, it was very nice to see the small boats. And through STA, it's always possible to ask the Small Ship Council to give any advice if you have a question how to better organize some services to small boats. Because especially after the races, small boats need some repairs. In tall ships, where normally have a big crew, a team who is taking care of them in the land, small boats in many cases must survive themselves. So we need to repair somewhere a sail or something. So please, the Norwegians made it very well. Communicate with other ports and collect the best practices.
Thanks very much, Marcus. That's great. Okay, that's got us off to a good start. I think some key messages coming out. One is look after the small guys as well. They're very much part of this international family. I happen to believe that without the smaller vessels and their crews, so much would be lost from our unique event. The other thing is a very simple 3 ways of, sounds like, getting it right is communications, communications, and communications. So it's interesting how that theme came through. Okay, before we go on to any set questions, would anybody like to kick off from the floor? Speak up and maybe just introduce yourself.
Yeah, Martin Willis, Harbour Master, Port of Blyth. We're a new destination. We've had tall ships visit before, and as Leslie has said, we've been attending events now. Commitment as a new port to try and get the networking, get people interested, and a number of these events, the difference between the established ports, your Bergens, your Scandinavian ports, Dutch ports, the ships tend to know where they're going. It's an established routine. Some of the berthing plans don't particularly change from year on one event to another. So a new destination, a new host port, is very important. Again, we're back to communication, but we need the details from the vessels regarding the silly things, gangways, access. It's very important to get that established. And sometimes
and your question to the Panama?
It was more of an observation, Paul.
Yeah.
Just
no, that's absolutely right. I think again, communications, making sure, and SSL Training International have got a key role in that. And Tall Ships America, Patty Locks at the back there from Tall Ships America. It's very important that we get this information flow from the ships to you. And I think, as Leslie said, strike up that close communication with ship operators, get to know them. Okay.
Can I say something?
Please do, yeah. Jump in, guys.
I think that there is a system already of the ships that are quite often taking part in the races, where all the sizes of gangways and more and things like that. But if you start up a new event as a harbour master, just contact the ship straight. The ship's captain knows the draft and he knows what he needs. And then it makes maybe the STI is an organization that's facilitating this whole thing. But on a certain moment, they have to step back, and then the contact should be between you and me, and not through 6 gates. That makes it a lot easier. Straight contact with the ship and what they need. For instance, liaison officers. If a liaison officer for a small ship has to be somebody different than a liaison officer of a big ship. But again, if the ship is Russian, it makes a difference. If it's Dutch and we go to England, we don't need a Dutch guy in England. We can speak English. Yeah? So we need maybe somebody that's more technical and knows all the shops and workshops in town. So these special things, they're different for each ship. So straight contact with the ship is very important.
Thanks very much, Klaus. We'll keep this moving. Håkan wants to say a few words?
Yeah, just to add to when you're talking about gangway, I just noted it here, which might be a tip for future host ports. When you have the open ships, it's really crowded. Thousands of people want to go on board the ship. I think it would be a good service to have some of these small fences to order the queuing, which will be available by the gangways. You can set out. So it's also for the security of the port, because if the crowd goes right out, you will stop the whole crowd. So have some small fences delivered by the gangway, so that when you have an open ship, you can lead the queue system. It's a very simple way to do it, and it's also good for the festival itself of security reasons. Just a little advice.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's move on. I'd like to go to something a little bit more general than the question is the key thing. Yeah, really planning successful events. It's examples of where it's gone right and perhaps where it hasn't, lessons to be learned. Who would like to kick off? Just give one example, perhaps. Anything come to mind, class? No? Okay. Yes.
I get the feeling it's all about our needs, and we need a lot, and we want a lot with these ships. But it's I forgot your name. But it's also important that we have a communication to learn from you, from the ports, what you want from us. We can be a bit more than just wallpaper. We're sitting there on dockside, but we can sail, we can conduct things, we are the players in the play, and if you ask us, we perform. So this communication is also, there's a lot to give, more than sometimes is asked for, I think.
No, very good point, Gerben from Oosterschelde. That's absolutely good, important point. There's communications, and it's a two-way thing, absolutely a two-way thing. Okay, yeah, please do.
It's also important and difficult for a port to start off the event months in advance to get the public attention. If a ship is there, like for instance Europa is sailing in Antarctica, so it takes a long route from there up to the northern hemisphere. We can write stories. If the connection is already there with the ship and the port, we can make stories. We can have a journalist even on board 3 months ahead, and he makes a trip and then makes articles in newspapers. Another thing that we did is make a connection with schools. So every ship has his own school in town, and the kids are following the ship. Kids have parents, so you've got a bigger community behind it. So there are more ways to use the ship. There's many ways of using the ship as a platform. And for instance, if a school is chosen a ship and they're following it, maybe the parents or the school is doing a party later on and getting the ships and climb the rigging, whatever. There's many opportunities to use it.
Great, thanks. I think Marcus wanted to come in and say something.
Yes, I want to say something, maybe it's useful and it's sample. In many harbors, there is a very big problem how to over-valuation system get some technical help or advice. In Stavanger, I remember, they established a 3 guys support team who was experts in ship repair, in all things related with spare parts and things. So every liaison get only 1 telephone number to these 3 guys, and they was organizing everything. So sometimes the build up of a system is very easy. Just don't think that you can find, for example, liaison who is universal in every field. I was rated also with one festival in Estonia. In cruising in company, we took in 2 days 56 ships to the island. So I was lucky because all the liaisons was with people who were sailing with me before, and they all understood what the ships need. So ships was very satisfied.
Okay, thanks, Marcus.
Problem, but
we'll move this on. Yep, thanks very much. Marcus raised a very key point. The liaison officer system is absolutely key in any port, and maybe we could just ask either Björk or Leslie to say something about the success of your liaison systems. Either one of you about liaison officers.
Hi, yes, there was obviously with regards to any event, we need lots of volunteers to deliver a tall ships regatta or a main race. Experiences in Hartlepool, we had over 200 volunteers who started out a year in advance, and we recruited, selected and trained those volunteers. There is a system in place. Obviously everyone knows that there's a Chief Liaison Officer handbook, which obviously has all of the information in relation to volunteering. And we did have various roles for the liaison officers. So we had a Chief Liaison Officer, then we had some deputies, and we actually split it onto I suppose a wet and a dry side. So the wet side being the ships and the dry side being the events. And from there we had different various roles. From the ship side of it, we had ship liaison officers, 1 person per ship, or the bigger ships 2 to 3. This worked out very well. We also had technical liaison officers, and it's already been mentioned the importance of having somebody with experience. It's not just about languages, it's about sort of having people with experiences of working on ships, maritime, engineers, that if something happens, then they can actually help facilitate and repair those ships. An example, in 2005 as a cruising company, one of the ships actually lost its propeller, and we actually sorted that out. So not forgetting that there's importance to have that type of that role. But on the event side of it, the dry side, you need events assistants, you need those welcome ambassadors to the town, those people that sort of to welcome people. You're looking at sort of a lot of people from sort of different you know, it might be from the UK, it could be from Europe, making sure that they are really, really welcomed, and that is really important. And having people just helping out with Sailtree International or working in lost persons, but just not forgetting how important they are, and really not forgetting on the days that, you know, they are volunteering at the end of the day, and they have to be, you know, well looked after. But it's really important to have at least, you know, a good couple of hundred volunteers, because there's always a role for them. But yeah, that's the importance. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Leslie. Do we have any questions from the floor about the liaison officers? Toby. Toby from Jolly Breeze.
Jolly Breeze and sort of Small Ships Forum, really. Just a question for port organisers. It's come up in the Small Ships Forum, wondering how difficult it would be to have people in place at ports at major travel centres, bearing in mind most ships are crew changing. So we've got very young crew coming into very, very busy towns. They're usually a foreign port, sometimes with a completely different alphabet. And we were wondering if that would be, what sort of budget that would require,
Okay.
if the ports could do that.
Good point, Toby. Really, I think that's one to the host port. So I believe the question is, when ships have young miners coming in, travelling in, what is the host port's responsibility? How can a host port actually help by having presence at the airport and buses? Björk, do you have views on that? How far could Fredrikstad go to help with that, for example?
Actually, I haven't thought on it that way, but when we are sending trainees, we are having grown-ups to take them, for instance, to Harlingen when they were sailing to Fredrikstad. But we have never fetched young trainees at the airport for a crew shift or something. That's the idea for the next time.
Okay, with the Small Ships Forum, it crossed their mind as well to have a tall ships representative in an airport would be really good advertising as well for the event.
I think that's a good idea. It has been done with some of the ports in the past, particularly with smaller regional airports. You know, Heathrow Terminal 1 to 5 might be a bit difficult into Royal Greenwich, for example. But, you know, the ports, that's a good thing to do. We'll talk that with the port, and where that is possible, you know, we'll encourage them to put it on.
Could I just add something to the liaison system? Because I think you learn from your faults, and we had our first event in 2005, and we had 300 volunteers and about 120 liaison officers. What we mistook this time in 2014 was that many of those came back and wanted to be liaison officers, but they were 9 years older. So I think you have to be rather critical to who you choose to be a liaison officer. They need to walk, and they need to be quite effective, I think.
Yeah.
So last time we will learn from that.
Tell you what, any more questions from the floor for the liaison officers? Please.
Morning, my name is Paulo Costa. I'm from Ilhavo in Portugal. We are a little city. We are organizing a festival in August during the cruising company from La Coruña to Cádiz to La Coruña, and because we are a little host port, for us it's quite difficult to make us note among the vessels. So that idea that you gave, it's very important. I think that in future it would be very important that host ports could show themselves to the vessels, so that it will be easier to sell our festival. Now I have a little question. I would like to know which are the three most important things that for a vessel to go to a festival, that makes a vessel choose to go to a festival, and which are the three things that makes the vessel not to go to a festival. We don't speak about money, of course.
Okay, thanks. Who wants to answer that one? Klaus, been to a lot of festivals.
Yeah, we make our voyage plan years ahead. So we're now thinking about 2019, 2020. So if your port fits into that program, the chance is good that we're going to talk to you. If it's on the other end of the world or in the wrong hemisphere or whatever, then it's more difficult. But it has to be a connection. And the STI is, of course, looking for ports and making the races and see what ports are, adding on the beginning of the race and on the end of the race. But I think most of it, of course, we want to try. For some ships, small are not so attractive because they can't make a lot of money out of deck events and things like that. And we have an agreement with the STI that there's allowed about one, maybe two small ports, but there should be some big ports there also because it gives more deck events and more publicity. And so there's a few things that, but I think the most important one is, can we get some money there? Can we add something there? And does it fit in our program?
Okay, thanks very much, Klaus. I think Håkan wants to say something on that.
Just a little add. You're a cruising company port now than this year, so just a tip would be there. You won't get the whole fleet in, but you might get some. You won't have some specific Class A ships perhaps. And a good tip then is to send 5 trainees from the port before, and that would be a way of getting them in. And you would also get more publicity because you have your local youth on board one of the ships coming into your port, and it's money for the ship. It's an easy way of attracting the ship in if you can send some trainees, and it's even more value for you, for the local newspaper with the heroes who have been out at sea and stuff like that. So that's a way of attracting the ship in as well.
Yeah, very good. Jamie, from this side of the pond, would you have anything to add?
Sure. So the American model is a little bit different, and similar, I guess, to the small vessel forum that you use in Europe. Revenue opportunity is a big thing. Also, expectation of the port. If it's a good revenue opportunity, but the ship's going to be expected to be doing 16 hours a day of sailing off the dock and a lot of work for the crew, that might be a turnoff as well. So it's a combination of what are the opportunities for revenue and how hard is the vessel going to have to operate to do that. So those are two things. And the third one is the crew hospitality keeps coming up as a theme, and to think about what that is, the cold beer at the crew party is good. But some of the best American and Canadian festivals have had crew centers off the ship with television sets and video games and free meals. Because a lot of the small vessels, it's a burden to be open to the public and cooking at the same time. And laundry is always a greatly appreciated perk. I don't know if that's is that a standard thing at the European festivals?
We try and get that right, actually, Jamie. Yeah, the host ports and many ports do that well. That's funny enough, slide about that.
Wi-Fi is a hot debate right now, right?
Yeah,
that always goes over very well because every crew member wants to be on Facebook when they're within cell phone range.
And do most American ports manage to get Wi-Fi throughout the event area for the cruise?
It's a mix. There's some ports that actually have set it up with each ship getting their own router, so that basically each ship has its own Wi-Fi connection. That's pretty rare. But it's great. Usually the American port or North American port that does that wins Port of the Year. But the crew center that's off the ship within a reasonable walking distance will typically have it for the crew. So as long as it's a reasonable distance to get to a hot shower, your Facebook page for free, and some snacks, then the crew are generally pretty happy.
Okay, thanks. Anything else on Wi-Fi? We're now covering this hot topic. Wi-Fi. Can I just say, ship operators, who from the ship operators here think Wi-Fi should be spread in the whole event area so all your crew can get Wi-Fi access on board the ship? Is that realistic? Toby? Okay, don't be afraid to put your hands up. Okay, and who from the host port think that is unrealistic without some good sponsorship? Yep. Anybody else? Or put it another way, host ports, do you think that is achievable and something we should be going for? Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, legacy project. Anything else on Wi-Fi becoming, Reinhard?
In Holland last year at Sail Amsterdam, they had a big Wi-Fi network for those hundreds of thousands of visitors. But with the G4 or 4G network coming up, most people were not even getting logged into the Wi-Fi and just using the normal network, which, of course, didn't work anymore. So,
yeah, that's good. That is a good point as well. Overload on the mobile system. Seamus from Dublin.
Just on the point of Wi-Fi, we were very much of the view that we should have it all right we had a certain large Italian naval ship with about 500 people on board who zapped the whole thing in the first couple of hours. But
speak up a little because we can't hear it here.
you'll have to clean your ears out, class. Is that better? Yeah. Now, we just said that we had arranged Wi-Fi throughout the entire area, and there was a large naval vessel with about 500 people on board that zapped the entire system in a very short time. Just while I have the floor, though, Paul, just one of the, you're aware we did in 2012, and we think we provided very good facilities. What I would urge host port to do, though, is think, and it depends very much on where you are in the race, that don't just allow for the 2 or 3 days of the event. Allow for a couple of days beforehand. Have you got garbage facilities? Have you got sort of crew facilities? Have you got traffic management? You know, all these security, all these things. So don't just think, and I know there's always a conflict between our municipal people who want you to spend nothing and get hundreds of thousands of people in, and there's the ship side of it where we want everything for the best facilities. So just allow for that in your planning. Okay.
Thanks very much, Seamus. In fact, I'll come back to you later, Seamus, because I'd like for you to explain an example of good practice. But later on, if we could just stick to cruise services, cruise centres, laundry, showers, heads, questions from the floor. If
was that based on smartphones and all those things that you have, that cruise centers are seldom used or not used at all. So should we continue to put up a cruise center which is not being used, or should we more look at let's say the social media that are available, mobile apps and these kind of things?
Okay, good. Okay, Leslie first, and then Marcus, please.
Yeah, I've actually done things differently in various host ports. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way, to be honest. Again, in Hartlepool we did have a cruise centre which was well received, but actually not used as much as we thought. We had laptops, we had food, we had like vending machines and some food, some televisions, etc. But it's already been mentioned, Wi-Fi is probably the way to go now. Again, Royal Greenwich, we had a marquee, which wasn't actually used on the site that I was working on, but the Wi-Fi was. So I think that I've actually been a trainee as well, so I think as a trainee coming in, as far as facilities is concerned, cruise centre is nice, but it's not actually required. I think it's more of the fact that as long as you've got Wi-Fi, you've got fantastic facilities in terms of showers and toilets. We've already mentioned that. You know, that's the important part, really.
Okay, Leslie,
yeah,
sorry to cut in.
Yeah.
I think there'll be quite a few people who disagree with that statement about cruise centres aren't required. Anybody like to defend that from the floor?
Some good. The cruise centre. My experience is if a liaison officer do not know where the cruise center is, when it works and how to reach it, then it's not in use. And in very many people go from small boats to cruise center. If they cannot reach it, you put the small ships here and the cruise center there. So you understand it's little use.
Okay, location as cruise centre is important. What else about
location
what makes a great
and
cruise
the
centre?
knowledge of a liaison officer, how to reach when the cruise center works and what we can get from cruise center. And also, I very briefly answer the Wi-Fi. The question is that you're organizing a festival and you can cooperate with many other organizations to help youngsters to reach from airport the place where the ships are. In many countries, very well organized the tourist information system. But in many countries, I go to the tourist information, they know nothing about your festival.
Okay, so we're getting back to communications again.
Ask the local, you give orders or you sell the places to the local food places. In many food places, you just ask them, please install the Wi-Fi to your clients, and we can go there also to have this Wi-Fi. It's just very many up to how you cooperate and organize.
Okay, thanks very much, Marcus. Now, I seem to remember the Fredrikstad Cruise Centre was pretty good, Björk. Did you want to say a few words? How did you make that work and popular?
In Fredrikstad, we had the service centre and the cruise centre at different places. The service centre was close to the C&D boats, and the cruise center was in the center of the city, close to one of the huge stages. And it was in an ordinary youth club that is fitted for youth to come. So in Fredrikstad it was a great success, not only to come to use the computer, but to meet other trainees.
Yeah, that's a very good point. A good meeting place for crew members to go. Okay, could I just actually ask Seamus to say a few words about the Dublin Crew Centre, which I think was one of the best I've ever seen. And used tremendously. You had all types of things there, Seamus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul, and thanks for that comment. Yes, we're very conscious that when vessels come into a port, we've got the large ships which invariably have terrific facilities, and the smaller ships that have very little and in between. So we want people to leave our port with a very good taste that they had a great experience. So we decided to go that extra mile to put in very, very good crew facilities. And it was particularly relevant in our case because on that particular voyage they'd come across the Bay of Biscay in a force 10. So you can imagine the state of the vessels and the state of the people on board when they got to us. But we decided, and we spent a lot of money, we built a crew village, if you like, right in the middle of the area where the ships were. So it was very, very close by. And we went that extra mile to put in top-class toilets, top-class laundry facilities, Wi-Fi, computers, all the rest of it, even billiard tables, all sorts of recreational things like that. And the feedback we got was that it was very, very positive. But I think it is very important to do that.
Thanks very much, Seamus. Certainly the feedback we had from Dublin Crew Centre was fantastic. Martin's got a question.
Yeah, just a quick one for the captains regarding laundry services. We're giving consideration to that now. We see two options: getting a contractor in to collect, clean, take back to the ships, as Hacken knows that can work, it cannot. Or we provide a facility on the quayside where it would be down to the crew's responsibility to wash and dry their own equipment. Will they use that from yours?
Let me just, as I mentioned, remember from last year in A Coruña when I had the review of Bergen, everything was a great success, apart from a national threat on the day we opened, and the other, which was taking more energy, was the laundry system, which didn't work. What happened there is we had booked a group of people who were going to collect the clothes, and it's mainly the small ships who use this laundry service, and they were going to wash them at a separate place. But they mixed up all the clothes, and it got back to the crew center, and they were not even dry. So you can imagine how the crew center was for a time being. And it took more energy than the national threats actually during that festival. So keep the laundry service at the quayside. I think that will be done in Bergen next time in 2019.
Thanks, Håkan. I think, Klaas, did you want to say that? No, that's it. Yeah, Jamie, please. Yeah, jump in.
So to put things in context, when if a port's providing a laundry service of some sort for the crew, then that's excellent. The crew are still going to do, the ship's going to do laundry at some point. We want to be presentable in your ports. So when the port doesn't provide it, then a couple, usually 2 crew members from the ship are going out with the ship's laundry, or 2 members for every 20 members of the crew. So 1 in every 10. They're going to leave the ship, they're going to go do the laundry. We're still going to do that. So when you think about providing these services for the ships, the thing you need to think about is how much of the personnel of the vessel do you want devoted to providing a great experience for the people who come to your festival when they board the vessel? Because if the ship starts getting stretched thin, then it can impact the visitor experience. We do our best at all times. We encourage our crew members to always put their best public face on, but if we're very thin staffed because of the needs of the vessel, then that can strain those. So if you're providing a laundry service and then we have 2 additional crew members on a vessel of a crew of 12 or 15, that means that the experience for your visitors could be improved by that. But the ship's always going to do the laundry no matter what, because we don't want to show up after 3 weeks at sea in your port smelling like we've been at sea for 3 weeks.
Thanks, Jamie. Certainly from my perspective, to answer your question, from my perspective, Martin, quite often the self-service crew centre facilities are best. Make sure there's somebody there just on hand and the soap powder, and make sure that's not abused. I think Dublin certainly got that right. You had a bank of laundry machines and dryers, and I have known ports, and I won't name them, but they've had those sponsored, so new domestic dryers and laundry machines, washing machines, and so they use them for the 5 days, and then they sold them on for a profit. So that was great. That's one to think of. Okay, anything else on crew centres or laundries?
Well, just putting my experience on laundry on boats, it might be worth asking the liaison officers. The best experience I've had is where the liaison officer has actually volunteered to take the laundry to their home, launder it and bring it back.
Fantastic. Yes, that's a good one, and that does happen in ports from time to time. Toby.
They're usually great.
We'll come back onto that, Toby. There was a question, I think, from over there. Was a question? No question from that here? No, that's fine. Did you have a question? No. Okay.
Just how much laundry per boat or ship are we talking about here?
I think it's most of the time not the Class A ships, it's the smaller ships. So, you know, how much laundry do you make in about 1.5 weeks? That's about it. 1 bag per person, I guess.
Yeah, 1 bag per person. That's really neat. That's what Jamie said. Anything else on laundry?
Laundry. You can calculate if we sail a week and the crew is 10, it means that it's 7 machines. And don't forget dryers, because our way, the small ship have not the flags, but the underwear in their boats drying.
Okay, thanks.
And actually, when in Dublin, the laundry was with a crew center, it means that the crew is washing the things, and in the same time, is acting in a crew center. It works very well. So in many countries where it's together, the crew can 24 hours washing and stay in a crew center.
Okay, question there. Why do so many host ports get it wrong about showers and heads? It's probably the biggest complaint that we ever get. We really, advise ports, put your budget into good heads, dedicated crew toilets, and showers. Make sure there's hot water. Make sure there are hooks on the door to the showers so they can hang the clothes up, etc. Make sure they're serviced, constantly cleaned. But we still keep getting criticism, and some host ports don't get that right. Would anybody like to add on that? Showers or heads?
It was great, and I won't do that again. Seriously, one port had the worst showers and toilets we've ever come across for the first half of the event. They then got them manned and looked after, and they went from being the worst to some of the best. I'm afraid to say we sail with teenagers who've done lots of smelly things. A lot of them hit a shower and toilet all at the same time. It's going to get overrun pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks, Toby. Let's move on. Okay, we've got, I think, about 15 minutes left, if I'm right. Import activities, really, sir. Question now.
Could I change the topic to, is that all right? The topic,
please do.
Topic change. I'd like to know about successes and failures with online ticketing. And in our case, in Portland, Maine, we had long lines. And I kept thinking that we should have sold tickets by the hour or by the day or some way of shortening the lines. And also, we counted on a lot of advanced ticket sales online. I'm wondering how we could improve visitor experiences.
Okay, that's probably more appropriate for the North American model, the US model, where you have ticketed events. That's generally not done in Europe.
The crowd management piece, I think, would apply to either.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to come on to that. Absolutely. It's one of the things we're focusing on more in advising host ports to help the ships manage the crew to the gangway. So, for example, we had 2 years ago, we had one very popular vessel with a very long queue. They were very keen to queue to get on board. I think it was Cruisenstern, and then which was holding a deck event, and then they just came up, no more, and because we're preparing for the deck event. That could be managed with the host ports, liaising the communication ship with, communicating between the host port and the ships, so you have an idea of when they want to close their line, to have stands saying 20-minute queue from here. So I think the host ports can do a lot to help manage the queues by working closely with the ships. Would you like to, Klaus?
Yeah, I think online setting a time will not work, because before you're at the ship, you could be holed up for hours, and maybe you see something else. Another way of doing it is giving people a passport that they can visit 3 ships, for instance, so they can choose which ship they want to do. But yeah, the problem is if there are some ships there that everybody wants to go to, then But what Paul said, if you put a sign there, 20 minutes or 1 hour to wait, then people go to another ship and take a stand there.
Leslie wanted to say something, and then Gerben after that.
Yeah, just on that again, my experience of working down Royal Greenwich, we had a system which worked really well. So as it's already been mentioned, we had like an A board outside saying what time the ships are open, and there was a queuing system, and it actually said it'll open in 20 minutes time or whatever. And actually that did work well. There wasn't an online system as such at that time, but the system worked really, really well, as long as actually people are aware, they get the opportunity, having a good crowd, sort of, I've mentioned already, like a queuing system with the fencing and having some liaison officers there, entertainment as well, making sure this, we keep the crowds happy by entertainment and street theatre, just to keep the, so you don't want people to be upset, and as you say, making sure that communication keeps on going with the liaison officers or people off the ships, that if coming to a certain time, if the ship's actually closing, making sure that they actually still get the opportunity to go on board those ships, or actually to ask them to come back the next day. So that really worked really, really well down there.
Yeah, thanks. Some good points there. Gerben was next.
Yeah, something very practical in terms of crowd management. That is the accessibility of the ships. They not always have more than one gangway, and certainly not very long ones. So if the gates are very high or steep, that makes long queues as well. So if you can provide these things, the facilities for these ships, that people can embark more easily and disembark more easily, then you prevent long queues on the quayside.
Very good point, Gerben, and that is really highlighting that relationship between the ship and the host port. We encourage the host ports to talk direct to the ships, and we encourage the ships to talk to host ports. Reynard was next, I think. Gentleman in the back after that.
I'm also interested what host ports expect from ships with regards to open ship times, and if there are many queues, perhaps it would be a good idea to talk with all the ships that you divide the open ships, that you not only have a few ships open at one time. Maybe some people have comments about that. Ships or ports.
Okay, ships opening times and managing for when they close, presumably for lunches and other things.
Very short from the ship side. Depends, of course, if we have corporate hospitality on board. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yes, we do have that tension between the ships want corporate hospitality. If they've got corporate hospitality, then they can't open to the public. Jamie.
A number of vessels in the North American fleet carry signage and what are often called storyboards. So a series of 10 or 15 different, if they're poster size, or one vessel actually has a fold-out easel for each one that can be spread out throughout the line, so that if there is a long line, there's still something of the ship that can be absorbed by the public while they're waiting in line. So that's something that the ship side can do, and a number of American vessels have adapted to. Of course, you have to stow them somewhere on board the vessel, so what they're made of, how they get set up, that's very important. I'm not sure if that's a common thing for the European fleet, but a lot of the historic vessels in America do it.
Yes, some do, some don't, Jamie. We like seeing that. That's a good, tells the story. It's fantastic. Anything else on open ship? Okay.
The easiest is, of course, take more tall ships in port, and we can spread the public.
What we've been doing on our ship is we offer guided tours, a maximum of 25 per time, and we have 3 different shifts. First, go on the ship. They will explain how the ship is, what's about the ship. That's more or less the storyboard, and then they be guided around the ship. There comes the next party, so we got 75 people at the same time, get them moving. We use 2 gateways if we can, and it works pretty good.
Jürgen, thanks very much. And there's a lady behind you with another question.
I was just going to say, I was involved with the Hermione, and I know some of the lines, I don't know how long your lines were, but some of the ports, they were up to 3.5 hours wait. So I'm one that has worked a lot with the physically challenged and elderly. And when we got to Castine, I just did not want older people in particular having to stand that line. So we did it online, and we did 100 people every half hour, and we didn't have any troubles with that. And some people just went by to see the vessel instead of getting on it, but it worked really well, I think.
Thanks very much. There's
also means that it also means that from a marketing perspective, you can keep track of who's on the vessel, and then you can send them further information. And that was one of the things to mention about Wi-Fi is so many people posted things on their own internet that it publicized what was going on. So I just throw that out.
Yeah, no, very good from that marketing perspective. Thanks very much. Anything else from the floor on Martin?
Just an idea we're considering for our event. If there's big queues, is working with the vessels we know are coming and doing basically making an app for a smartphone of a virtual tour of the vessel, so that whilst people are queuing, they can access an app and view where they're going. It keeps them infused. When they get aboard the vessel, they've got an idea what they're going to see.
I think that's a fabulous idea, and I think in any marketing materials that you want to distribute, you could help the ship experience out and the flow of traffic by explaining to the general public what baggy wrinkle is before they ever step aboard the ship. Because that's probably, I don't know if that's the case in Europe, but that's 90% of the questions that get asked to American tall ships is what is the fuzzy stuff in the rig. So if we cover that, it's going to speed the flow of traffic right along.
That's great. Any more experience of apps?
Yeah, maybe another solution is that most of the bulk is coming in the afternoon. So if you arrange with the ship that he's open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11, for instance, then maybe young kids and older people can come aboard, and maybe you don't have that mass of people and you can talk to them. For us, it's a lot easier if we have less people on deck and make a relationship, talk to them and explain things, than just having thousands of people just running over the deck, not being able to see anything.
That's a good point, Klaus. And you also mentioned adopting the ship through the schools, and that's another way, I think, of actually encouraging people to come down in groups outside of the peak time. Björk, anything on that open ship? It seemed to go well in Fredrikstad. Any problems?
We didn't have any problems with queuing in front of the ships, but I think when you are planning for parking and transport, I think it's important that you see it together with the cultural program. And sometimes you can really plan that where you will have the people and where to go. So I think that's important to see those things together.
Okay, thanks very much, Björk. Anything, Marcus, from a small Class D vessel, a sea vessel? You can't invite people on board, but do you do anything to try and interact with the passing visitors?
To small ships is one vital thing is that sometimes we want to reach our boat, so please plan that it's possible.
Okay, so that's a sail on board campaign will help that, which we talked about. Now, any other subjects, burning subjects from the floor? Anything at all? Martin, okay.
Again, it involves access to ships, opening times, but from certainly the port side, the technical side, stuff like waste management, fuel supplies, taking fresh water, doing that outside of event times, peak times. On our travels last year, I did see certain occasions, no names, where ships were actually stopping people going aboard and there were black bags of rubbish flying over the top. That's not what we want. So again, it's a bit about forward planning. Things like that greatly assist access to ships. It's better for the ships as well.
I think that's obvious that it should be done at 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Yeah?
Okay, sir, again.
You brought up apps. I just wanted to say that I think the era of apps at events has a bright future. We had an app in Portland, and it had a lot of benefits to us. It was very cheap to build, and it had a lot of benefits. We each ship had a page which we sold to the advertisers, and then we also had the ability to send news out if there was news of parking or emergency, etc. We got a lot of emails. In fact, 9 months after the event or whatever it is, people are still signing up for the app. And the city loved it because the city was our big sponsor. They wanted us to have this app, even though they didn't know exactly what it meant.
Yeah, okay, no apps is absolutely important. Coming back to more looking after the needs of the crews, we have seen the app in certain ports. I can't remember, Jorn, whether you had an app in, I thought you did in Aarhus in 13, but they were used very effectively at pushing information to crew, having the crew handbook on there. I think that's also not just marketing your event, but actually looking after the needs of the crews, a very good way forward.
I just have a remark about what the host ports could wish from the vessels. I think, Håkan, you started out saying that the vessels are the stars of the show, and I agree completely. But from a host port's view, it could be great if more vessels could somehow act as the stars also. You know, when the Mexicans come in, they have a special show they do, and some of the vessels have something, but it could be great if the vessels also could participate in the show this way. I know it's difficult with the crews changing, but I think it could add to the whole arrangement.
Anybody want to pick up on that? Contributing. Certainly in Aarhus, you had a fantastic mock battle, I seem to remember, between Standart and another vessel. Gothenburg, wasn't it? Yes.
We try to be a sailing ship most of the time, so we try to come in sailing. And of course, a sailing ship is more or less dead when it sits in port. And when we are having fun outside and looking beautiful, there's no one there. So we need journalists and movies to show that to the people when we're alongside. But there are smaller ships that can do some sailing in port, and I think that's really nice. The bigger ones have to stay alongside, but if you give the opportunity to the smaller class B and C ships to sail around in port and take people, then you got your artist there.
Okay, thanks very much. Toby was next.
Well, sort of just repeating what Klaus just said again with the small ships forum, some of us just been discussing quite a lot of small boats. If it's geographically possible, that depends on the port. We're very, very happy to do sailing demonstrations if we can. That would really liven it up.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I think we've got time for another couple of questions or so. Have we not covered a topic that somebody would like to raise from the floor to the panel? Okay.
For ships, it's really important to be welcome. And we are welcome in your ports when you have an event. But it would be really nice if we were also welcome outside the event. And I know the event committee is probably not there anymore, but maybe the harbour master is still there. Or if we have a line of a couple of ports that are tall ship friendly ports, and to us they're really important. You get to a website, and you can put your things on there. If pilots is free, or the berth is free, or whatever, the water is free. It differs per harbour, but it's really handy to have that. So if you contact STI and say, okay, if your ship comes in next year outside an event, she's really welcome, and this is what we offer, and this is what So that would be really nice if ports are doing that. That the relationship keeps on going. I mean, your next event is coming up. We'll be really choosing you.
Thank you, Klaus. Really important part. And in fact, my last slide there, sail training friendly ports. If any port wants to welcome tall ships, bona fide sail training tall ships outside the event time, not charge them for berthing fees, pilots and tugs, or a greatly reduced discount on that, please let us know. We'll try and publicise that to the ships, and you will therefore attract more vessels. Hubert.
for tall ships.
Ostend.
We have regulation in the port manual, and all sailing training ships are free of berth in Ostend. So come to Belgium.
Great. Okay. Right. Any other host port, sail training friendly host port? Now's your opportunity. Blythe. Okay. Any advances? Fredrikstad. Sunderland. Okay.
Yes, we did. Okay, so we got now the difference between real sailing training ships and.
Okay, I don't think that's a good point. Okay, and when it's a sail training ship, if it's got corporate clients on board, it's still a sail training ship. That's a whole other conversation and workshop for November, I think. Okay, anything else on the sail training friendly ports? Okay, that's just something we would really encourage, and it's not just about a one-way thing. I know Europa, for example, went to Madeira pre the Funchal 500 event. Reynard, you sorted that out. They provided a free berth, and you very kindly gave a free deck and a free press conference. So that's that type of relationship. It should be two-way, really important. Okay, one last question from anybody? Okay, Håkon.
Just also a tip from the ship side for new ports. If you are for corporate hospitality, if you're running event companies to do this, make sure that they know they are going on board a ship, and that you also coordinate well with that event organizer. If they are not familiar with doing these tall ships events, they don't know what they are going on board. And this also comes to how you do the berthing in the port, how you place the ships if they have deck events, and just think about that. It's a wise thing. And also what I learned quite early when I was planning the berthing in Bergen is that when you do the berthing, it's not only the ships, it's the nationalities and it's politics which actually plays in how you can place the ships. I will not mention, but some nationalities are not best friends. Don't place them together. It's not a good idea. So things like that is also worthwhile thinking of while doing a berthing plan.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Intellectual friendship and
for
understanding.
some of the bigger ships, and also one idea I would recommend. What we had success with in Bergen was the sports activities. For the prizes, be creative there for the prizes for the crew instead of giving them a pokal or for being in third place in the football game. What we did had good success with, we gave them guitars for the welfare of the ship, and I'm still really happy when I go around in the port and I see the guitars with the logo and stuff like that, which is good for the ship. It doesn't cost much, and it's a good value for the ship for many years to come.
Håkon, thanks very much. We're out of time, guys. I'd just like to say, I hope you've got something out of this session. You're now in contact with some, really good guys there. Follow-on conversations over coffee, etc. What I would like to say is, thanks to Harry for whizzing around with that roving mic. Harry's one of our key volunteers. But in particular, thank you, Marcus, Bjorg, Jamie, Håkon, Leslie and Klaus. Thanks very much for your contribution. And there's a speaker's gift Sail Training International would like to give you. Thank you very much indeed.